Nowadays, no, mass media plays a key role in extension of globalization process. The media components such as televisions, internet, computers, radios, and many others are considered to have a paramount influence on globalization. Also, because of globalization process today, there is an increased access to a broad range of media, which plays a very important role in shaping human minds and has an immense impact on society's personal lives, no? Thus, these two equally important processes interact with each other and they provide mutual assistance in the expansion of the sphere of influence. Before, the press media had come into picture. People used to communicate by writing letters and sending them into direct mails. The appearance of press media came as an informational revolution. This early press media became a source of information, promotion, and projection. It was specialized in diverse spheres and was focused on all the issues concerning daily lives and well-beings. Press educates people about international happenings, entertainment, political, and sports events. After the press media, radio and television had been discovered, which lead us to a different kind of revolution. Nowadays, people could not only read, but also hear and see the news. So the role of media in globalization process is very important. And in my point of view, media is a part of globalization process. It is like a pen of the globalization process because media shares everything that the globalization process dictates. The important role of globalization process has internet, which connects all the countries around the world. So to sum it up, Manong Dan, in my opinion, mass media and process of globalization has definitely got a lot of positive and negative aspects, no? But however, the advantages are way more, and therefore there is a remarkable progress and development in all economic, social, political, cultural, and traditional aspects, no?
It covers a large area. So the area to be covered is larger than ever made before with other source of globalization. Is next is the danger of superficiality is present. The loss of individuality and privacy has a threat. Is threatened. The privacy of a person is threatened because of hacking, somehow like that. The next is it can be a platform for bullying and other cybercrime, and next is it can also be a source of false information like scams and it can some people who don't use media is is a good in a good way. They can be addicted to it, especially the technology. That's it.
If we talk about the role of media and globalization process, we should firstly say that what is media, or we should talk about what is media, which is also rampant us because as teenagers we are exposed to social medias with Facebook, Instagrams, Twitters, and such. So the media is the technologies that are intended to reach a large audience by mass communication. Today, the media play a key role in enhancing globalization, and media also play an important role in facilitating culture exchange flows of information between countries. The media spreads through international broadcast, new technologies, television, programming, films, music, and such that we are seeing in internet and in televisions. There are a lot of broadcast of media. For example, you can say about the internet, as much as I have said earlier, TVs, radios, newspapers, books, billboards, and etc. The media connects the world to a network of information which is easily accessible for all of us. In discussion series of questions, which role has media in globalization process? We could think that the role of media in globalization process is very important, and the point of our group is that media is a part of globalization process, which is like a pen of globalization process because media shares everything that globalization dictates. The important role in globalization process has internet, which connects all the countries around the world. Internet is called World Wide Web. So in that phrase or in that scenario, we could say that internet is accessible wherever you are in the world. So if we say about the globalization process, we should remind that the developed countries, or specifically the global north countries, is enough. However, there are some countries which do not globalize enough. For example, the third world or the global south. And in line with globalization without media, it is hardly to be accomplished, not unless it is spread by a messenger or someone who would go in every country to share or to spread culture of one place. This includes the products and any other things that is achieved through globalization. For example, how will teens in India, Turkey, and Argentina adapt a Western lifestyle like Nike sneakers, Coca-Cola, rock music without global media? Would you think of that? According to traditional wisdom, hence the mass media putatively influential effect on the global of culture. This is somehow practically stating that no globalization without media and communication. Yet this relationship is so obvious and it is often overlooked. Globalization does not need media for global integration is impossible. Without media, it would be difficult for countries to communicate with each other. Media already started a long time ago. In past, the source of media is newspapers, press, scriptures, and such, which is used to inform other people. Today, media are usually used for politics, promotions, and negotiations. We can see that everywhere in this generation. If we go to the mall, we can see promotions, we can see brochures. That is an example of media. And in this generation, to build negotiation between countries to country, they don't need to talk with each other in person because of media. Even though they are separated by seas, they stay connected. For example, before the leaders of two nations meet in person and tells the public what they agreed on, they need first communicate with each other with the use of media, since it is a long process. When they meet, it is only formality, but they have already plans. So in conclusion, it is hard for these days to have globalization because we are exposed to media wherein it is easier for us to communicate with each other or to communicate all around the world. That is why for me or for our whole group, it is hard to achieve globalization without media.
Before we're going to answer the main question, let us go and define first what is media globalization and cultural imperialism. Come on, let's go. So, media globalization shall be defined as the phenomenon of expanding multinational corporate media investment resulting in the emergence of a global oligarchy of first-tier corporations, which own and operate a variety of mass media content and distribution technology including television, radio, film, music, broadcasting, satellite, telecommunication, cable, newspaper, magazines, publishing companies, internet content providers, and other forms of converged digital media. So the term cultural imperialism refers most broadly to the exercises of the cultural relation in which values, practices, and meanings of a powerful foreign country are imposed upon one or more native culture. In international communication theory and research, cultural imperialism theory argued that audiences across the globe are heavily affected by media messages emanating from the Western industrialized countries. So the development of social media even makes the progress of cultural imperialism become faster. And due to the linear model of mass communication, cultural imperialism takes place worldwide through mass media. Messages from mass media changes people's mosaic and it leads to a crisis of local culture.
My mate Decade Tantoy have already discussed what is media globalization and what is cultural imperialism. So, as for me, my answer to that question is yes, media globalization can be a form of cultural imperialism. So, according to John Tomlinson, mass media globalization can be a form of cultural imperialism, as mass media is tied with concepts which originate from financial dealings of dependency. From World War II until the present day, cultural imperialism haven't subsided yet, and some have even said that mass media made it even worse, as US and other empire countries supports capitalist dominance. Culture from these dominant countries are being transmitted to poor or somewhat developing countries through the use of mass media, and then this perpetuates cultural imperialism. Tomlinson also discussed that American culture is not necessarily imperialist because it does not push cultural agenda. However, the spread of other cultures such as of the US through media globalization to other countries of the world, specifically colonized and developing countries, has a great chance of triggering cultural imperialism or cultural implications. On one of his books, Jonathan Gray did not only talk about the problem of cultural imperialism, but also talks about the problem of US media corporations recontextualizing non-Western media. By recontextualizing the media, it can change a lot of meaning and messages. Movies such as Godzilla and Solaris can be a prime example of this. To gain more knowledge why Godzilla and Solaris is a prime example of cultural imperialism through recontextualizing of media, you can search it on Google because the US have changed the story of Godzilla from the original story made by the Japanese. According to Gray, using Beltrán's definition, he said that cultural imperialism is a process of social influence by which a nation imposes on other countries its set beliefs, values, knowledge, and behavioral norms, as well as its overall style of life. Examples of these are American products, even in media outlets, goes global and killing other countries' culture. According to Gray, America will become everyone's second culture, and for my opinion, this is true. As what we can see today, in the Philippines, consumption of foreign products and media specifically from America is rampant in our society. Same can be said for the consumption of Korean media such as K-pop and Korean telenovelas. In the Philippines, Filipinos tend to indulge, impersonate, consume foreign products. Some even copy Western ideals through social media. And these are some of the reasons why Filipino culture is slowly dying. And this is why some great authors and sociologists argued that media globalization can really be a form of cultural imperialism. And for my part, I believe it is true.